Hey YouTube, welcome back with another video. In today's recipe, we are making a cream cheese pound cake with cream cheese icing. Guys, this recipe is it, okay? This is a really classic pound cake. It's rich, it's moist, it's light, it's fluffy. It's everything you would ever want in a pound cake. Get into the bite. Come on, let's get into the recipe, guys. So in my stand mixer, I'm going to add in my unsalted butter, followed by our cream cheese. And remember, guys, it has to be softened so that it blends well with cake. So you're gonna go ahead and beat this until nice and silky. And it looks like so. So once it's nice, fluffy, silky, you're going to go ahead and pour in your sugar. Now I did pour this in very slowly. You don't want to just dump the whole sugar in. So just, pour it in slowly, and that way it incorporates nice and well. So once you're done adding your sugar, you're gonna beat on high for about 5 minutes, and then it would look like this. As you can see, the color changed. And then you're gonna go ahead and start adding in all of your eggs. Now there is a lot of eggs in this recipe. As you know, pound cakes can be light but dense at the same time. So there are a total of 6 eggs in this recipe. So you just want to add one by one, and then make sure to well incorporate the egg before adding the one before. So now we're gonna add our vanilla extract. I like pure vanilla, not imitation vanilla, but use what you have. We're also gonna add in our almond extract. You can see it, but y'all, the almond takes it to another level. Then we're gonna add in our heavy whipping cream and our pinch of salt. Let's get all of that incorporated, and then we are going to start adding in our cake flour. And as you can see, I'm using a rubber spatula to add it in. Just like the sugar, you don't want to add in all of your cake flour at one time. You want to add spoonful by spoonful and kind of let it get incorporated a little bit before adding in the other. And don't worry, in traditional pound cakes, even though this is a traditional one, but in the normal pound cake, you kind of alternate between milk and the flour. There is no milk in this recipe, but all of that moisture from the cream cheese and the butter is going to be more than enough, and you won't have to add any liquids to this mixture, and it will come out beautifully, just like so. So I added in our last little bit of cake flour, and look how it came together so well, guys. But then you're gonna stop your mixer, and then we're gonna scrape down all of that flour. And just to make sure everything is well incorporated, you wanna give your bowl a nice scrape down. No pinch of salt, no flour left behind. Also rub down your paddle attachment as well. You're gonna let your mixer go for another 20 seconds or so. Don't overbeat your mixture because you don't want your cake to be dry and folks be talking about you, okay? So once I'm done, I'm going to just scrape my bench scraper, getting as much cake mix off as I possibly can. And then we're gonna go ahead and scrape around our bowl just to ensure that everything was well incorporated. And as you can see, it is. Y'all, this mixture is thick, thicker than a Snicker, okay? But this is normal because, again, pound cakes are a little bit more heavier than our traditional cakes. So here I have a Bunt pan. You can use a Bunt can, and this comes in different types of shapes and forms. Whatever type of Bunt pan that you have, feel free. I'm going to spray some Baker's Joy non-stick spray, and that little can was on this last little inch of leg, y'all, but we made do. And you want to make sure that you're generous with your non-stick spray, because once it's time for the cake to release, you don't want, especially for presentation purposes, you don't want half your cake still stuck at the bottom of the pan. So spray it down, get it nice and greased, and then you're gonna add your cake mix to your Bunt pan. And as you can see, the cake mixture doesn't really pour out like regular. You will need to assist it. and help it get out of the bowl. And then once you have all your cake mixture in your Bunt pan, you want to kind of give it a few beats on the bottom just to get any possible air bubbles. And then I just take it and kind of pound it on my counter just to make sure everything's leveled out and there is no air bubbles. So she is oven ready. She is going to go in the oven on 350 degrees for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So it's been 1 hour and 15 minutes and this is what we are looking like, y'all. This is the best part of the cake. The bottom with the little crunchy pieces literally is that makes the cake, okay? So I'm gonna let this cool down for about 10 minutes and then we're gonna work on our icing while it's cooling in the pan. So I have a small mixing bowl here. I'm gonna add some more unsalted butter and cream cheese, both softened. And we're gonna use our hand mixer to blend this together. Of course, I have it on high. And then once well combined, it should look just like this. And then we're gonna go ahead and start adding in our confectionate sugars. Now you don't want to add your confectionate sugar all at one time. So I'm doing 1.5 cups at a time. And then I will add the other half of the sugar once I'm done because you don't want a big poof cloud. Look how nice and smooth this is. So we're gonna go ahead and add in the rest of our sugar. And then get that nice and smooth as well. So our icing is perfect, but it's super thick. Now this will be perfect for like cupcakes or if you're frosting like a red velvet cake, but not to drizzle over our pound cake. So I started off with milk and I'm using milk as a thinner to go ahead and kind of thin this out. So you want to be able to pour it on top of your cake. So I'm just using a whisk to incorporate the milk, and then you only want to add in a little bit at a time. So I 86 the milk and then I switched to heavy whipping cream because I still wanted our frosting to be rich and very creamy. So I'm just adding in a little bit at a time. You don't want to add in too much liquid because you don't want your icing to be really thin and runny. That's not the look I'm going for, but feel free, to follow the measurements in the description box below, but just take note that you will not have to use all of your liquid to get to your desired consistency. You shouldn't have to. So we're getting there, and again I'm just adding gradually until we get where we need to be, and then bam, this is the consistency that we want. So we want it still thick, it's not transparent, you can't see through it, but it still also, it runs when you pick the whisk up. So my cake has been cooling inside the pan for about 10-15 minutes. So I already put it on my cake stand, I flipped it over, and look how easy the cake release, y'all. Look how beautiful and golden brown this pound cake is. Like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I was so satisfied with how this came out. So I'm actually gonna let this cool on the cake stand for, it took about 1 hour for it to completely cool because you don't want to ice it hot. So let it sit until completely cool, and then it's gonna be time to ice. So I have our cake here chilling on the cake stand. I put our icing in a measuring cup glass just so it's easier to pour. And then we got the pouring. So I did like a little back and forth motion just to make sure that it drizzled down. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little skeptical about icing this cake because I wanted it to be so perfect and I wanted it to be like magazine worthy, but it came together. So as you can see, it's dripping out of the cup with a little shimmy, but I am going to show you guys how to go ahead and smooth that out so that it drips down on the side and the inside the way we want it. So with my offset spatula, I'm gently pushing the icing down, and then I just work my way around the cake because I don't want it too runny. I don't want too much icing. It's just going to be just enough to ensure that every slice of cake has some. So I added a little bit more, and then I literally took my time. I was super gentle going around the cake just to smooth it out and make sure our icing had a nice smooth finish. voila, our cake is finished. And this is the finished product. So we are going to cut into this thing and see what the inside looking like, because that's what matters. So I'm gonna cut a nice hefty piece, and let's see if it's giving what it's supposed to give. Okay, moment of truth. Hey, it's giving everything it's supposed to give, y'all. Get and look at it. It's light, it's fluffy, it's moist, it's flavorful. Oh my goodness, y'all, the best pound cake ever. I honestly prefer the cream cheese pound cake over any other pound cake. It is my absolute fave. Look how good this looks. And if you're from the South, y'all know we do pound cake, scoop of ice cream, and it's perfect for any gathering. Y'all, Thanksgiving coming up. I told y'all I was gonna help y'all be ready. So again, thank you guys for tuning into another recipe. This was so fun and so yummy. If you try this recipe, please leave down in the comment section how this cake turned out for you, and I'll see you guys later.